Imagine pressing pause on your favorite game every time you feel unsure about your next move, just because you can't handle a single mistake. Sound familiar? Let's talk about beating the final boss called Perfectionism once and for all. I've been playing Monster Hunter lately, specifically meaning the Longsword. If you ever played it, you know how critical perfect timing is, especially for those lick counters and evasions. One moment of hesitation or a single misplaced swing can cost you a precious card and send you back to the camp. It's the perfect example of how a perfectionist mindset can creep into gaming. You start believing you need that no-hit, flawless run. But in reality, sometimes embracing a mistake and learning from it gets you back in the hunt faster. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel of Jack's Flow, where we embrace the mantra focus, learn, overcome and win. If you're new here, hi, I'm Jack, and my purpose here is to help you by talking about daily struggles, human psychology and personal growth. All applied to geek and nerdy culture, manga, anime, video games and a little bit of music. If you are the kind of person who wants to constantly improve and discover more and more things related to the topics I cover regularly, I invite you to subscribe to the channel now so you don't miss any future updates. It's free and you can always change your mind at any time. Today we are going deep into something that can hold all of us back: perfectionism. If you stick around, you will learn why you might be stuck in a never-ending loop of trying to do everything just right, how that habit sneaks into daily life, whether that's school, work, relationship or even gaming, and most importantly, how to snap out of it. By the end of this video, you will walk away with real strategies to break free from that must-be-flawless mindset. The episode is divided into chapters, so you can move around at will to listen to the passages that interest you most. So grab a snack, get cozy, and let's get started! Chapter 1. What is perfectionism? Perfectionism can feel like you are chasing the impossible high score. It's that little voice demanding, "One more try, this time no mistakes!" At first glance, the idea sounds awesome. Striving for excellence, giving your best shot. Who wouldn't want that, right? But when perfectionism gets out of hand, it becomes a prison. It stops you from moving forward, it gives you constant stress, and steals your joy from even the simple tasks. Think of it like repeating a boss battle in a video game over and over and over again. The longer you play, the more you worry about failing, and that anxiety alone can cause you to slip up. You press the run button and it's game over again. You haven't suddenly become bad at the game, you are just stuck in a mental loop that convinces you are not allowed to make mistakes. While recording Monster Hunter hunts for this channel, I found myself restarting quests because I took a hit I shouldn't have. If I miss a perfect foresight/timing, I want to quit and start over. But all I was doing was locking myself in a loop of anxiety. One slip up doesn't define your entire hunt. In fact, that slip up might teach you more about the monster's attack pattern than a perfect run would. So, why do we become perfectionists in the first place? It usually starts when we were kids, at an age where we barely understand how the world works. Perfectionism often forms as a defense mechanism, a way to get the love, attention or safety we need. We start telling ourselves, "I have to do everything perfectly, or I won't be accepted." Sound familiar? Over time, the mindset can feel so normal that we don't even question it. Chapter 2. Where perfectionism begins. If you ever watch anime like Naruto, you know that characters often have backstories filled with parental expectation or community pressure. Naruto, for example, is always trying to prove himself because he grew up feeling isolated. It's a bit like the roots of perfectionism in real life. Deep down, many of us think, "I won't be good enough until I meet someone else's super high standards." And this may occur with parental expectations, modeling after a perfectionist parent, or from criticism. First one, parental expectations. Maybe you had parents who only praised you when you got straight A's or won a competition. Mess up or bring home a B- and suddenly the mood changes. No more excitement, no more warmth. Over time, you link success with love. A study from 2004 on parental conditional regard shows that when parents offer love and approval mainly in response to achievements, kids often end up feeling huge internal pressure. The second example is modeling after a perfectionist parent. If one of your parents was a neat freak or took every slight misstep as a personal failure, you might have absorbed that mindset. Imagine a child watching a parent rearrange the fridge because the bottles weren't perfectly aligned. That small moment sends a big message. Everything has to be just right or it's wrong. The third and the last is criticism. Some kids hear non-stop negative feedback from parents or teachers. If you grow up feeling like every little mistake will bring a wave of scolding or punishment, you start believing that avoiding errors at all costs is your only hope. You're basically saying, I can't afford to mess up. And that's how perfectionism can take root. A friend of mine has a dad that is in the military. In that household, everything had to be regimented and flawless. For my friend, it left the impression that even the simple task, such as washing dishes, could never meet expectations. He grew up feeling inadequate, convinced that nothing he did was good enough. By adulthood, this snowballed into constant overworking. Now he has a house and a good job, yeah, but he is too wrapped up in perfectly providing for him and his girlfriend to actually spend time with friends or parents. It took some deep self-reflection and eventually therapy to unlearn that it must be a 100% perfect habit. In Monster Hunter, this might show up as never feeling good enough to tackle the harder hunts or new weapon types because you're terrified of fainting once or twice. Or maybe you insist on solo hunts because you don't want teammates to see you make a mistake. All or nothing thinking can rob you of the fun, and ironically, you will learn to dodge those massive monster attacks faster by making a few mistakes and getting back up. So how do you actually break free from this mental stranglehold? Let's walk through some steps. Chapter 3: The Real Challenge. Now, here's the tricky part. Many perfectionists already know they are perfectionists. They see that it's unhealthy. They get that they are missing opportunities because they won't press start on new things. But each time, perfectionism still wins. Why? Because it's not enough to simply tell yourself don't be a perfectionist. You need a plan, one that helps you to unravel the childhood patterns and rebuild your mindset. The challenge is that perfectionism feeds on positive reinforcement. When you do succeed, you momentarily feel like you did something right, and that reward can be addictive. It's like a rare trophy in a game that encourages you to keep playing the same way. Except the cost in this case is your mental peace. Let's dig deeper into real, everyday strategies you can actually apply. The first one is practice self-compassion. Think of self-compassion as a protective shield, but not one that shuts out the world, one that shields you from self-inflicted negativity. A 2005 cross-cultural study titled Self-Compassion, Perfectionism and Academic Burnout in Asian and European American College Students showed that self-compassion was linked to lower levels of perfectionism and burnout. Basically, being kind to yourself helps reduce those damaging effects. How to do it? Speak to yourself the way you would speak to a good friend. Second strategy: embrace the done is better than perfect mindset. A colleague of mine always said, done is better than perfect. It stuck with me because it's so damn true. If you can't finish anything, you never move forward. Try setting goals that are actually reachable. If you're drawing manga fan art, aim to finish one piece and share it. even if you think it's only 80% of what you wanted. That 80% is still better than 0% because it's out there in the world. In Monster Hunter, in a hunt, maybe you decide you will stick with a loadout and see it through, even if it's not optimal. Often, staying flexible and finishing the quest is more important than constant resets chasing the perfect run. Third strategy, treat failure as an experience gain. In roleplay games, every battle, win or lose, earns you some experience points. Failure is the same in life. You learn more from your mistakes than from your victories. Step back and examine mistakes like they are a puzzle solution you haven't figured out yet. If you adopt the every fail is a clue mindset, you become unstoppable, trust me. In Monster Hunter, every time you faint, you learn a little more about a monster's pattern. It's like each card is extra experience that refines your tactics. Fourth strategy, set goals and release the outcome. Many times, perfectionists can't enjoy the journey because they are fixated on the final result. Try focusing on the process instead. For instance, if you are practicing guitar, set a goal to practice 20 minutes every day, no matter how awkward you sound at first. Whether you play a flawless tune or not is secondary. The win is in showing up. I will repeat, the win is in showing up. In Monster Hunter, if your goal is to master the longswords counters like me, try a few hunts, specifically focusing on those moves. Don't worry if you miss half of them at first. Don't worry. The progress you make is the real victory. Chapter 4. The takeaway. Here is the biggest takeaway. The moment this all comes together, your worth isn't determined by how perfect you are. We are taught to believe that if you're not performing at 110%, we are slacking. But real life doesn't work like that. When you realize that striving for perfection actually stalls you in a place, you free up mental and emotional energy to try new things, even if you're not a pro at them right away. If there's one thing I hope you remember, it's that you can't become a graceful master without first being a foolish beginner. Every top-tier artist, programmer, athlete or musician had a day one. They all had a cringe moment or messy practice sketches. Mistakes aren't the opposite of success. They are the building blocks that form success. I see this in my Monster Hunter gameplay too. I started landing more counters after allowing myself to fail a bunch of times. If I gave up the moment I missed a single counter, I would never see real improvement. Trust me, the first time you nail that perfect lay slash after failing 10 times, it feels so damn incredible. And it's only possible because you kept going despite the errors. So, to wrap this up, perfectionism is usually born in childhood, shaped by experiences where love and acceptance felt conditional. It follows you into adulthood, messing with your relationships, your work, and your own sense of self. The good news? You can break free. Yeah, you can actually break free. Start by giving yourself the kindness you might have missed growing up. Let "done is better than perfect" become your new catchphrase. Embrace the simple truth that failing is learning. And challenge any old rules that say you must be flawless. Once you do these things, you will find that you can explore new interests, take bigger risks, and actually enjoy the ride instead of worrying about every potential slip-up. This isn't about lowering your standards or saying you should never aim high. It's about knowing when to chase excellence and when to let yourself breathe. Because sometimes, finishing that new cosplay, painting or video project, even if it's not 100% perfect, can feel way more satisfying than eternally polishing a project that never sees the light of a day. And hey, in Monster Hunter, finishing the quest and carving the monster is way more rewarding than resetting over and over, hoping for a perfect run that might never come. If you find this video helpful, please hit the like button, subscribe for more geeky personal growth content, and share this episode with a friend who needs a boost in their journey. Remember to tag me on social media if you are journaling or mapping out your future. It's always awesome seeing your progress. Let's build all together this community, leveling up together every single day. As always, focus, learn, overcome, and win. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Keep leveling up. See you on the next quest.